The individual who got money voluntarily by creating a YouTube channel that a lot of people watch and enjoy used a small portion of those resources to go help individuals, and oh my God, light your hair on fire, because he used the attention that he got from that video to accumulate more resources to maybe in the future go and help even more people.
On to the main, Brother Maynard. Apparently, curing blindness makes you an antichrist.
Which is rather strange, because I'm pretty sure the real
Jesus
Christ did that.
Yeah, Jesus cured the blind, the lame, and the dumb. But God, thank Christ he didn't tweet it, because Lord knows he'd have, who's this Jesus fellow that's dying for my sins? I want to die for my own sins, all right? I'm American, goddammit. I'm not some commie that lets you just wipe out everyone else's fucking sins. I want to pay for my own sins, my own hard-earned soul money or whatever the bullshit is. Jesus would have had a hell of a time on Twitter, let alone YouTube. He would have been...
Probably wouldn't have done it, because he also had this other thing about, like, you know...
I'm not familiar with the guy, so...
something to the effect of, you know, don't make your sacrifices super obvious, right? Because you're either going to get worshipped by your fellow man on earth, or you're going to get by your Father in heaven.
If you're fasting, fast in private. If you're in suffering, suffer in private. Yes, don't espouse.
Pretty sure Jesus would not have had a Twitter.
I feel like 18 years of fucking Catholic schools coming back in waves right now. Anywho.
So anyway, what we have this week, and actually it didn't happen this week. It happened, I think, a week ago, end of January 2023. MrBeast, and I always forget his real name, but he is literally the biggest account on YouTube. I don't remember how many million subscribers, but let's just say a lot. And he often does these challenges because he makes a lot of money, both from his YouTube and other social media platforms. So he has the financial resources to do all kinds of crazy things. Like sometimes he'll have somebody stay in a house like out in the middle of nowhere.
If only we had mentioned another character that has all the financial resources ever on this podcast alone that could have done this at any given whim.
Yes.
If only.
You know, he'll do crazy things like get somebody to stay in a house out in the middle of nowhere for like 300 days, and then he'll give them $500,000. He does crazy stuff like that. But then he also does some heartwarming stuff every now and then. And what he did recently is he found 1,000 people that had curable blindness. You know, with a simple medical procedure, they would be able to see again. They are technically legally blind now, but he had the financial resources to pay for 1,000 people to be able to see again. 1,000 people. Now, before we go any further, I want to put a pin on that, and I want to ask you a simple question. How many people do you think the tweet or the commenters that had something to say about this that we're getting ready to read, how many people you think they've helped? Forget blindness. How many people you think they actually like threw a $5 bill out to the guy begging at a stoplight? You think these people did any of that?
I don't give a shit about that. Like, how is this not a complete and utter W?
Yeah.
Like a dude of his own volition saw that there were people in need, had the means to go and help them, and he did it. That's the cut and dried analogy here. That's all that happened. And from people in need, a good Samaritan comes along and offers them the services that they require with no repayment expected, by the way. He does it out of the goodness of his heart. Dane, how could this not just be received as like he's an angel?
Well, what they'll say, right? Devil's advocate. What they'll say is, well, okay, well, he should have done it private. Like he shouldn't have done it for the clout on social media. Well, first of all, say that to the people who had their fucking blindness cured.
If you're good at something, never do it for free.
You know,
second Batman quote or thing in here.
tell these people that are finally able to see again, thanks to MrBeast, that it's somehow tainted or there's somehow something wrong because he made a YouTube video out of it. That's the first thing. Second of all, I get that maybe this is your first ever exposure to him, but like I just briefly laid out for a second, this is his whole channel. This is how he became the biggest channel on all of YouTube, is by doing some of these crazy stunts. Some of them crazy, some of them really nice like this, and all things in between. This is the content that he creates. So it's not like he had this one thing and then he's like, ooh, I want to go build up a whole bunch of positive social capital. So for the first time ever, I'm going to go do something nice and get a bunch of clout for it. That's not why he did it. That's his entire channel. So again, you chastising him for doing this not only misses the whole point that 1,000 people can now see who previously couldn't, but that you are really splitting hairs really fucking fine if you're trying to find some fault instead of just sitting back and going, damn, that's really cool. I don't even really care that he's getting more popular than he already was. That's really cool. I hope he does it for another 1,000 people. That's the rational, non-piece of shits type of response.
Well, you know what that is, Dane?
But we know some of you don't have the non-piece of shit type qualities in you.
That leads me perfectly into my next statement, is that some people are just so ugly that they have to find something ugly in other people. And there is truly something altruistic that somebody does. They have to they can't possibly digest the fact that somebody did something out of their own good because they think that everyone's like them, just fucking cynical, and the whole world's out to get them, and the only reason anybody ever does anything good is because they can. Mother Teresa would have a fucking shit show on social media. They'd see her walking amongst lepers in her community. They'd be like, yeah, well, her tits are saggy. She needs moisturizer. Her face is all fucked up. She's not hot. I give her a 4 out of 10. Like, you fucking people, like, be better. Like, be the, what's that Bruce Almighty quote? Be the miracle, or be your own miracle, or be the miracle you want to see, or whatever that.
Yeah, be the change you want to see in the world.
Exactly, is the basically what they're getting after. So, go ahead. Okay.
No, I was just going to say that's why it wasn't a thought experiment for me to say that these people that we're getting ready to read their tweets from, do you think they've ever so much as given a dime to somebody begging on the street corner? Fuck no, because like David just said, they're projecting onto him, how dare he do this? Because when they're given the opportunity to give even a dime, they won't do it. Because they are the pieces of shit that they want to find in him. So, screw them. But anyway.
Hey, we can't help you be less of an asshole.
Yeah.
That's a trial for your own self.
That's on you, bruh.
Yeah.
You gotta literally be the change.
Listen,
that you want to see in the world.
We're assholes in our own way. We probably let it be known on this podcast more than once or twice. And we're working through it too. But you know what we're not gonna hate on? People fucking curing other people's blindness.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, that guy was hungry and you gave him a loaf of bread and he ate that day? What a piece of shit! You paid somebody's heating bill out of the goodness of your own heart? Well, you're a fucking... Whose cock did you suck today? Like, no. Just, Jesus Christ, Grinch. It's not 365 days a year, all right? Let it down. In fact, instead of shitting on him, maybe you should take some onus upon yourself and be like, why don't I do that more often? Maybe not to the tune of 1,000 people being cured of blindness, but just like Dane said, hold a door for somebody. Start small. Like, don't rush in front of the other person that's trying to get in line. Like, just be better as a human, and eventually one step leads to another, and then maybe someday you can buy 1,000 people blindness and some other asshole on the internet can call you a fucking piece of shit.
Yeah.
That's what you get to look forward to.
So let's get to a couple of these tweets, and we'll have our commentary on a couple of them as we go through here. But so the first one, and we're gonna put these tweets up. Well, first of all, they'll be here. Nameless Faceless Video Guy will put them in. But also,
does he put them here, or does he put them here? I'd like to do the Van
somewhere around there.
Is it
to the extent that we can find links to these tweets? They'll also be in the show notes page. So
just put them over my face.
The first tweet, quote, "There is something so demonic about this, and I can't even articulate what it is." Yeah, because when I think of 1,000 people being able to see, I think of demonic.
Yeah, right. Thanks, Satan.
Next tweet.
Here I was thinking Satan was all about causing dismay and making you doubt the fact that God exists. But apparently it's curing blindness and making people enjoy their lives a little bit better. Yeah, fuck you, right?
In a similar vein, the next commenter, the next tweet is, MrBeast being the Antichrist was not on my 2023 bingo card. Next
But
one.
here's the thing, like, evidence. Can you give one fucking reason why he's the Antichrist? Or just, oh, well, didn't know the fucking Antichrist was here already. Jesus. Like, nothing. There's not one instance where he was, other than him curing blindness in 1,000 people.
Yeah.
Shit, watch out, guys.
Next one. And again, like, look at the reach of some of these tweets, right? This next one I'm getting ready to read has 204 retweets, 16 quote tweets, and 5,630 likes. I hope these are all
trolls. I hope these are all trolls and they're just making a comment just for a laugh and people know that they're being satirical.
5,000 people saw this pure dipshittery and thought, I like that. That's really saying something.
Like it.
Anyway, here's what that tweet says. Quote, I am willing to concede that based on biblical evidence, MrBeast does check every box for being the Antichrist. But I'm also not willing to give that to him because there is no way the Antichrist is a soy-facing dweeb.
You're right. The Antichrist fucks. He's fucking lit. He's fucking in the gym, juiced out of his mind with a body that only the fucking Liver King can fucking replicate. Like, whenever you say the Bible, like, okay, I'm done. All right, I'm done. Show me. John 2:16 said fucking, and lo, there was a demon that rose from the sea and then cured blindness from 1,000 people.
Well, easy there, David. This Twitter account is called Fairy Godmother MD. So let's just give it the benefit of the doubt and say that this is an actual medical doctor behind this tweet. My guess is that this person who's the biblical evidence is probably not a big fan of the Bible anyway, in which case doesn't know fucking dick about it and heard like one verse quoted from it and was like, oh, that means that God wanted you to, stone your wife if she cheated on you. These are the kind of people that always have critiques.
You can get MDs and other things, right, Dane?
MD is a medical degree, David.
Yeah, in fucking pacifism.
Next tweet. I don't have the reactions or the impressions on this one, but I'm sure this one's fantastic. Quote, we don't hate MrBeast. We hate the fact that we live in a society that has weight on, okay, it's Twitter, so I'm not going to butcher him over his grammar, but that has weight on the kind benevolence of a billionaire to allow people to receive life-changing medical care that should just be taken care of through universal health care. Well, guess what? Guess what? Very appropriately named Goofy Wise. The government takes in roughly, United States government by itself. Let's set all of those other ones aside just for a moment. The United States government takes in $4 trillion a year in taxes. You mean to tell me that I don't know how much MrBeast has. He's probably worth a couple $100 million, maybe. Maybe that's high. I don't know. Doesn't matter. Let's say he's a billionaire. Let's give the guy the benefit of the doubt. He's got $1 billion. The United States government brings in $4 trillion a year. And despite all your wishing in one hand and shitting in the other, guess which one fills up first, Goofy Wise? The United States government is somehow finding a way to not shave off a little sliver of that $4 trillion and actually cure people of blindness. You fucking moron. So, yeah, you can go ahead and keep wishing for your utopia if all of your policies were instituted, or you can live in fucking reality and you can celebrate somebody who's picking up the slack that the government, with your universal health care, is not actually doing. Because even if you say, oh, well, yeah, that's because the United States doesn't have universal health care, and that's the point I'm trying to make. Sweden does. All your Scandinavian utopias do. Canada does. The UK does. Spain does. France does. All these other countries have it. I don't hear any 1,000 people that are living in France and Canada and Sweden and Denmark and Spain. I don't see them getting 1,000 people cured of blindness. Do you? You heard that story? So even with universal health care, they're still not doing it.
Well,
you fucking dumb shit.
Hey.
Jesus, I just can't with these people that are just so stupid.
We are open to the public.
Not for this guy.
Maybe
this guy is dumber than a box of rocks.
If he changes his ways,
no.
he can be accepted.
Listen, God forgives.
There's always a way back. There's always a way back. All I'm saying is,
goddamn,
they make $4 trillion a year.
This level of stupidity
they make
is beyond
$4 trillion a year. I'm doing a callback, Dane.
And spend 7 as of the last year.
131. What did we just discuss? The Democrats trying to get rid of the debt ceiling? Correct?
Yeah. Sorry.
So what does that mean? What does that? I see that.
I'm trying to.
So what does that mean, Dane? That they're not trying to bring it down. How many trillions are we in debt?
Lots. 31.
All of them. We're all 31 trillion and rising each day. So it feels like they aren't really concerned with that. I feel like they're as concerned with the debt growing and rising each year and them not having 2 fucks to give. I think those 2 fucks to not give are 4 fucks to not give for the 1,000 blind people that really needed their help, and they could give a fuck because they were too busy with other very, very, very important things, I'm sure. Telling us what we can and can't do with our bodies, telling us what we can and can't do with our lives, telling us what we can and can't do with our own money that they're going to take from us at the end of the year. All that being said, you want to trust the government to be as altruistic as an individual member of society to help 1,000 people out. He helped 1,000 people out, and the government did what exactly this year?
Bombed a lot of poor kids. Jordan Peterson would be happy about.
Well, hey! That was below the belt. Try to keep the gloves up. Jesus Christ. It's hard. It's a hard lift.
Listen, here's the reason why I get so mad at statements like that. Is I've said this many, many times before. I do not consider myself a particularly intelligent individual, right? I'm not like, Einstein level IQ or anything else like that. Most of us are right here in the middle, the bell curve, right? Average intelligence, yada, yada, yada. But just with a very minimal level of common sense and understanding of history and seeing how the more you do things and yet they stay the same, that it's the pure definition of insanity to keep trying to do that same thing and expect different results, is because I'm not supremely intelligent, but can still see how dumb it would be to continue to give the individuals in government more money and more power, more control over resources to get these things done that you think that only they can do. And then to top that little cake with the cherry of being upset that somebody that did have the financial resources to do it actually did it. This is the same point we made about Elon Musk when they were going nuts because he didn't solve world hunger, when he's one man and you literally have all of the governments on earth not solving it, and you're mad at the one guy.
And then, by the way, what did he do? He said, give me a plan. He wanted the government to give him a plan.
Right. But without,
and they never did.
Without going, too far down that tangent, it's the same thing. The reason why it makes me so angry is because I'm not some brilliant genius who had some novel insight that the average person doesn't understand for why I hold the position that it's completely stupid to expect the government to do this. It's because I'm of average intelligence and have figured that out. So the fact that you are so obtuse to be able to come to that conclusion, despite the fact that being literally a IQ of 100, right at the mean, and you can't figure that out, is either tells me that you are supremely stupid, which, again, not going to assume that about you, but you are so naive and so intentionally ignorant and refuse to learn anything from your own lived experience, forget history, that you would still hold on to this viewpoint and get mad at somebody for doing some good in the world, is just, it blows my mind, in addition to my gaskets. And that's why I lose my shit.
Well, again, we live in a very binary thinking country in a very gray-scaled world. Things are either good or they're bad. You either have money or you don't. You're either Democratic or evil. You're either Republican or you're evil. You're either a Christian or you're the devil, or you're either Jewish or you're out to get us. Like, there's no grayscale here. And then that's where that baseline, like, low energy thinking comes from. You have a lot of money. You could solve world hunger. Like, world hunger is a fucking complex issue. Like, society is a complex issue. Politics are a complex issue. Government and how it's run is a complex issue. It doesn't just have, we need to turn it on or turn it off. Like, again, we say this all the time. It comes down to personal accountability. It's on you to become educated. It's on you to know what the fuck you're talking about in any given situation. And you know what is also okay to do? Say you don't know. It's okay to not know. You're busy. You don't pay attention to this. You don't pay attention to that. That's cool. But don't just take somebody else's opinion and throw it up out of your mouth at the fucking water cooler because you think that it's going to earn you some popularity points. The popularity points you earn today are going to turn on you down the road. Same thing, which is why it brings me back to MrBeast. That turning down the road is when you go on Twitter and your little echo group, your echo chamber group, thinks that it would be cool to find something wrong with him curing blindness in 1,000 people, which is why you put that tweet out in the first place, because you thought that you and your team get it. You guys get it, right? You get it because we get it. There's nothing to get here. He helped a bunch of people out. Did he make content? Should he be rewarded for doing so? Yes. I have no problem with him making a profit off of him doing something profitable. Isn't that the whole fucking point of this whole world, is that you get rewarded for the things that you do well or do good? Like,
shouldn't we want more resources to flow to the individual or institution that's actually creating good outcomes?
If you want to record yourself giving a $1 million check to a poor, impoverished person, do it. Because you just changed 2 lives. You're going to get a bunch of support on your YouTube channel. And that guy just was taken off the street and put into a bracket where he's never have to worry about anything again, unless he fucks it up, which, hey, whatever. But the whole point being is, like, a good act is a good act. And I feel like we get so entrenched in everything that we do nowadays and in our own little foxholes that if anything steps outside of what we view as normal or acceptable, we have to attack it immediately. Even something as clandestine and as obviously altruistic as curing blindness in 1,000 people. I'm beside myself.
And here's just the craziest thing about this type of viewpoint, right? We want to all live in a world where the people that are creating good results are getting access to more resources, because by creating good results in the first place, right, they have demonstrated their value not only to those immediately around them, but to society overall, that they can be trusted with the proper management of those resources, right? That's the whole purpose of why people voluntarily, as we say, vote with their dollars. If somebody creates a good or service that you really love and makes your life better, you're going to go and give them more money so that they can, again, use those new resources to make your life even better, right? That's how a normal functioning society of voluntary exchange works, right? And we point out all the time, the incentives are wrong with government because everything is completely backwards. As opposed to getting rewarded with more resources for creating good outcomes, they're actually rewarded with more resources for creating bad outcomes. Case in point, exactly what you're talking about. You say government with $4 trillion of revenue every year is not creating the good outcome of curing people of blindness. So what's our solution? We give them more resources to go ahead and not cure blindness. Do you see how fucking stupid that is? You see how the individual who got money voluntarily by creating a YouTube channel that a lot of people watch and enjoy used a small portion of those resources to go help individuals, and oh my God, light your hair on fire because he used the attention that he got from that video to accumulate more resources to maybe in the future go and help even more people. That's the worst thing in the world. And instead of that, we want to make sure that the thing that has almost all of the resources and can legally steal it from us is the only institution in society that can do that.
Dane.
That's the thing that we want to have more resources, despite the fact a long demonstrated history of not doing good things for the world.
He literally.
Do you people listen to yourselves? I mean, the answer is no, but
he literally
figured I'd ask.
He literally monetized helping people.
Yeah.
That's literally what, like, if there was ever an altruistic business model, it would be that. It would be you get paid to help other people in their lives irrevocably.
Yep.
You just, you're JesusChrist.com or .co.
Well, you're the closest thing to that a human being can do, right? Because Jesus Christ cured the blind with miracles, right? He didn't need resources to do it because he had the power himself. Again,
so says the good book.
If you are in the Judeo-Christian tradition and, Jesus is, the Son of God and he cured people and all that kind of stuff, right? So he didn't need resources because as God, he could do it himself. Well, unfortunately for you and us and everybody else, human beings don't have that power. So the next best thing they can do is demonstrate their value to their fellow man such that their fellow man voluntarily gives them some of their own resources. And if they get enough of their fellow man to do that, that can accumulate to very large sums. And they say, okay, I've demonstrated my value to all you people. Thank you for the money. I'm going to demonstrate my value again. And I'm going to use these resources that you entrusted to me to go help people. Oh, the fact that I published that makes you want to give me even more resources? Thank you. I'm going to go help some more people. And that's the feedback cycle of how human beings that don't have the capacity for miracles themselves can use the generosity of other human beings and magnify that and create which would otherwise be a literal miracle. Because these people, these 1,000 people, would not have the ability to see if not for MrBeast using that business model to be able to pay for them to do it. He created an essential miracle through his imperfect, fallible way as a human being, the only way he can do that. And that is a laudable thing to do. Good for him. Last tweet before we let the dipshits have the last word, and it's really just kind of a recapitulation of what Goofy Wise said, but just a little bit different. Municat says, and by the way, 172 retweets, 18 quotes, 5,348 likes. She had 142,000 people see this tweet. And yet we say something like taxation is theft and 5 people see it, if that, whatever. I guess Twitter's algorithms aren't completely fixed. Elon, get on that. Anyway, Municat has this brilliant thing to say that 142,000 people saw and 5,000 people thought was really profound. Quote, most of the people who watch him are very young, and they will learn about altruistic acts like this as if they are normal. I just want to pause there before I get to the rest of that. And that would be bad because if a bunch of young people watch MrBeast and say, that's really cool that he did that thing, I'm going to go try to do that thing too. Is that the worst lesson that a kid could take away from a YouTube channel? They could take a hell of a lot worse away from this YouTube channel. They'll learn bad words from us. Anyway, rest of her tweet. Quote,
I feel like that was a personal attack
on me. Into the quote. So, they will learn about altruistic acts like as if they are normal. Like it's down to billionaires to fix these problems and not policy. So, I mean, she's saying the same thing as Goofy Cat. Policy would fix this. If we just got those wise public servants in government that definitely don't abuse their station repeatedly, blatantly in our faces, we're going to get those group of individuals to write some words on a piece of paper. And that's somehow magically going to create this thing we call policy. And that policy is going to manifest in people actually getting helped by this corrupt institution that's always used against us. Again, do you fucking people hear yourselves talk?
They have to be bots.
They have to be.
Or they're
what is the other
living
explanation?
NPCs. They're living NPCs. I think I've seen a couple of them this week. But Dane, if I may be so bold, can I introduce another?
You can have the last word.
Can I introduce another segment into the WMD podcast universe?
Go for it.
A WMD takeaway. It's very succinct.
I like it.
It's just be more MrBeast. Be less of a commenter. That's it. You want to be MrBeast because that makes the world better. Don't be the commenter sitting on the sidelines, not contributing to make the world better.
Yep.
That's it.